Hello. Yes, sir. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir. Fine. यस सर। ट्राई कर रहा हूँ ये लगाने की, लेकिन जी सर बिल्कुल। नहीं, मेरे इसमें वो ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा इसको चेंज करने का। मेरे इसमें ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा सर चेंज करने
कनेक्शन होगा।
Good morning, everyone. Dear participants, we are about to start the faculty development program. We are waiting for the chief guest to join. Once he is in, then we'll start the inaugural session of 7 days faculty development program. Am I audible to all of you? Good morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're
Good morning.
audible.
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. This is
Please hold on for some more time. We are just waiting for the chief guest to join. Uh, Dr.
When
Pradeep,
we-
sir, shall we start, sir?
Yeah, what are you waiting for?
No, I am.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
asking for-
You please start, Dr. Mukesh.
Yes, sir. Right. Okay. Good morning to all dignitaries and participants. On behalf of University of Engineering and Management, I, Dr. Mukesh Yadav, FDP convener, welcome you all in the inaugural session of 7 days faculty development program entitled Holistic Development and Outcome-Based Education in the Light of National Education Policy 2020. On this auspicious occasion, we have amongst us Honorable Chief Guest, Shri Gordhan Lal Sharma ji, Guest of Honor, Professor Neeraj Gupta ji, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti, Honorable Chancellor, UEM Jaipur, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, UEM Jaipur, Professor Dr. Vishwajoy Chatterjee, Honorable Vice Chancellor, UEM Jaipur, Professor Dr. Pradeep Sharma, Registrar, UEM Jaipur, Professor Dr. Anirudh Mukherjee, Dean Academics, UEM Jaipur, all HODs of UEM Jaipur, faculty members, and academicians from all over India. I once again wholeheartedly welcome you all in this inaugural session of Faculty Development Program. At the very onset, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Pradeep Sharma, Registrar UEM Jaipur, to throw more light on the FDP program and welcome the guests and dignitaries. Over to you, Professor Dr. Pradeep Sharma, sir.
A very good morning. I hope I am audible, Dr. Mukesh.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good morning to all the participants and dignitaries over here. Honorable Chancellor, sir, Vice Chancellor, sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean, Head of Departments, and all the teachers. Distinguished guests and all other members attending this 7-day faculty development program on holistic development and outcome-based education in the light of NEP 2020 from today to 19th June 2022. I welcome over here on this particular platform and this opportunity we got to interact with Professor Dr. Neeraj Gupta, Head and Dean, Department of Architecture, Central University of Rajasthan, Professor Dr. Ashulekha Gupta, Department of Management Studies, Kafikara University, Professor Dr. H.D. Charan, ex-Vice Chancellor, Bikaner Technical University, Dr. Priyanka, Associate Professor in Life Coach, Amity University, Professor Dr. N.P. Kaushik, Vice Chancellor, Om Sterling Global University, former VC of RTU Kota, Dr. Anuja Pandey, Associate Professor, Center for Management Education, All India Management Association, Delhi, Professor Dr. Rishi Pal, Dean of Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, Haryana, Dr. Reena Nigam, Director, Training Foundation, Visiting Faculty in Symbiosis, Pune, Professor Dr. Amit Sarin, Director and Professor of Physics, IK Gujral Technical University, Amritsar, Ms. Arvinder Kaur, Master Coach and Dean, SGT University, Gurgaon, Professor Dr. Sandeep Rana, former Chairperson, Department of Applied Psychology, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar, Dr. Arvinder Sharma, Associate Professor and HOD, Gangadhar Mehar University, Sambalpur, Shri Mukesh Kumar Meena, RAS Officer, JDA Deputy Commissioner, Jaipur Development Authority, Jaipur, Dr. GL Sharma, Senior RAS Officer, Deputy Commissioner, Nagar Nigam, Greater Jaipur, Professor Dr. Rajesh Nair, Director, Amity Institute of Behavioral Life Sciences, Amity University, Gurgaon, and Professor Dr. Arun Kumar Saini, Associate Dean, ICFI Tech, Jaipur. I welcome all the participants here for this wonderful opportunity to learn about two basic concepts of NEP 2020, that is holistic development and outcome-based education in the light of NEP 2020. In the traditional system of education, the teachers and the students spend a lot of time trying to learn the syllabus of every subject, and the main aim of the course and curriculum has been to score good marks in the examination. Whatever the students is writing, whatever the, you can say, the learning of your memory that students used to write in the paper, and score marks in the examination. The students were not skilled or knowledgeable enough by the end of the semester due to this matter. This was actually emphasized, and you can say it was the outcome of that particular methodology of learning. Further, this increased the problem and employment in the country, as many students were not skilled enough to match the requirement of candidates in the companies. The gap between industry requirements and curriculum gave rise to unemployable students. Now over here, the outcome-based education in NEP, it was, you can say, given focus on is a system where all the parts and aspects of education are focused on the outcome of the course. The students take up courses with a certain goal of developing skills or gaining knowledge, and they have to complete the goal by end of the course. Outcome-based education is an educational methodology where each aspect of education is organized around a set of goals or outcomes, and students should achieve their goal by the end of the educational process. Throughout the educational experience, all students should be able to achieve their goals. It focuses on measuring student performance through outcomes, and the OBE maps and measures student performance at every step. The OBE model aims to maximize student learning outcomes by developing their knowledge and skills. If you can say, or if you have seen the NEP 2020 draft model, the benefits of OBE for students is very clear. It's bring clarity among the teachers and the student. Every student has the flexibility and freedom of learning in their ways. There is more than one method of learning, and it reduces comparison among the students as everyone has a different target. It completely involves students taking responsibility for their goals. The NEP 2020, on the other hand, has reconfigured the curriculum and pedagogy of schools education to 5+3+3+4 design, with an aim to make them responsive and relevant to the developmental needs and interests of learning and learners at different stages of their development. However, it will not be necessary to make any parallel changes to the physical infrastructure. The policy aims at producing engaged, productive, and contributing citizens for building an equitable, inclusive, and plural society as envisaged by our Constitution. There are different aspects of, you can say, steps as given in the NEP 2020, and I hope that this session, this faculty development program, will take care of most of the aspects of holistic development and outcome-based education, as mentioned in NEP 2020. I'm grateful to all the participants from more than 20 states making this program a kind of pre-release success. Once again, I welcome you all to this 7 days of learning from the best of the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you, Dr. Pradeep Sharma, sir, for your positive encouragement and warm welcome. Thanks a lot, sir. Moving ahead, on this pleasant and joyful morning of inaugural session, I would take the privilege to invite our young, dynamic, and vibrant Professor Dr. Vishwajoy Chatterjee, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, UEM Jaipur, to present the welcome address. Over to you, Professor Dr. Vishwajoy Chatterjee, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So there might be a little bit of background noise. I will request all the participants to excuse me for that. First and foremost, I would like to say that we are into a world where the education has to be seamless. Like if we are studying computer science and we are only focused into computer science and not knowing anything else, then the education cannot be complete. We cannot produce any outcome, or the development cannot come through our shoulders. It is very important that the education is seamless. Now we want outcome-based education. And if we ask any teacher, the teacher is always of the opinion that I have imparted outcome-based education. Now we have now formulated, by holding the hands of Washington Accord, we have formulated, and also with the help of NEP 2020, we have now formulated a way by which this outcome-based education can be quantified, that how much outcome I have been able to provide. So it is very important to have the students to go through all the levels of Bloom's taxonomy, and maybe a level above that, that our creation is being actually used and utilized. So these are the important things which are being, which will be discussed over here, and NEP 2020 will be covered broadly. I'm very sure about that. And on behalf of University of Engineering and Management, UEM Jaipur, I would like to welcome all the honorable dignitaries, Professor Dr. Neeraj Gupta, Professor Dr. Ashulekha Gupta, Professor Dr. H.T. Charan, Professor Dr. Priyanka. I welcome Professor Dr. N.P. Kaushik, Professor Dr. Amit Sarin, Sri Mukesh Kumar Minaji, Dr. Anuja Pandeji, MS Arvind Kaur Madam, Gordhan Lal Sharma ji, Professor Dr. Rishi Pal, Professor Dr. Sandeep Rana, Professor Dr. Rajesh Nair, Dr. Reena Nigam, Dr. Arvind Sharma, and Professor Dr. Arun Kumar Saini. Their introduction was already made by Professor Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, our registrar, so I don't get into the introduction. But wholeheartedly I welcome, and I'm sure that at the end of this FDP session, over these 7 days, we will actually learn how outcome-based education is imparted in the light of the National Education Policy 2020. Thank you, Professor Mukesh, for giving me an opportunity to speak. I'll request you to take over from here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. Thank you for enlightening us and always inspiring us. Now, I would like to read out the message sent by our Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti. However, he has not been able to come personally to attend this meeting, but he has sent his blessings for all of us. And I would like to read out the message sent by our Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti, sir. Dear colleagues, welcome to the Faculty Development Program. Here, in this FDP, you will explore the need to enhance the knowledge about the holistic development and outcome-based education in the light of NEP 2020, its implication in teaching, assessment, and evaluation. We can achieve this objective by providing coherent and comprehensive support for faculty to achieve their personal and professional goals. The central focus of the Faculty Development Program is to promote transformative approach to learning, the idea of connections, the concept of transdisciplinary inquiry, meaningfulness, and community as an integral aspect. In addition, we hope to improve our faculty experiences by fostering creativity, learning, inquiry, and exploration. Finally, at the Faculty Development Program, we ensure that our faculties are supported by holistic development and upgrade their professional skills, not only for their own development, but also for changing the life of students. We are keen to ensure that the faculty's accomplishments and successes are recognized, supported, and celebrated. Therefore, I express my best wishes to all the faculty members participating in this Faculty Development Program. Kind regards, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging words. Thank you for being the torch bearer for all of us. Further, I request our highly revered Pro Vice Chancellor of UEM Jaipur, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti, who is a passionate and profound professional, exemplary academician, and a visionary leader, to kindly bestow our blessings on all of us. Over to you, Professor Dr. Satyajit Chakravarti, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm indeed honored that University of Engineering Management Jaipur has got the opportunity to organize this faculty development program, in which an august assembly of stalwarts from the different fields, interdisciplinary fields are here. It is very high honor to our university. I'll just say a few very salient points. That the NEP National Education Policy is bringing lot of innovations into the forefront. It is primarily bringing the interdisciplinary nature of studies into the curriculum, which is how the industry works. But unfortunately, through all these ages, the academia was partitioned from the industry, and there were a large gap between the industry requirements and the academia. But now with this new education policy, with this constant focus on outcome-based education, the gap is slowly being bridged, and more students are effectively being able to find employment. Teachers are getting more satisfaction because their students are getting so much success in the industry, in the workplace, in the higher studies, all these places. Now, as Professor Vishaya Chatterjee, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of UM Jaipur, said that the Washington Accord and the Bloom's taxonomy, all these are being integrated into the way of teaching learning process. In addition to that, in Bloom's taxonomy, the highest form is the creation of knowledge, creation of some sort of output that will help us in our Make in India campaign to be Atmanirbhar, to be self-reliant as Indians, as so that we can have a very robust economy, which I believe we will definitely have as per the predictions of the government. We will definitely have a very robust economy going forward. Now, in addition, I just wanted to tell, as Professor Vishaya Chatterjee also mentioned, that creation, although is the highest level, but adoption of the creation is perhaps something to achieve for. Meaning that it can be entrepreneurship, it can be licensing of patents, of intellectual property, but it is very essential. And sometimes it is not only selling, because if you see Google and if you see Facebook, they offer their products for free, but they generate revenue by way of advertising. So whatever products are being made by the students, by the groups of students, or in alignment with the teachers, or whatever research and development is being made or patents being filed, they must have users. Without users, I remember my professor in the University of British Columbia, Professor Karen McLean, used to tell me that Satyajit, inventions are dime a dozen. Inventions are dime a dozen. There are so many inventions, but unless people use the inventions, they are absolutely not finding the value. So I would request all the teachers here to think, because creating something, product is highest in the Bloom's taxonomy. But there is something higher than that. That is to make users use the products. It can be paid products, it can be even free products, but there must be sufficient users of the products, otherwise be of value. Of course, what creating is the step to reach that next step. So we must all try for outcome based, some output, some outcome, some creation level as the highest level of taxonomy to achieve those. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you so much. Best of luck for the this 7-day FDP program. It is going to be very useful for all the delegates, all the teachers. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your support, encouragement, and permission to organize such FDPs. It's always a privilege to listen to you. Thank you so much, sir.
I will request whenever the speaker is talking, you give the spotlight to the speaker. Okay, there is a spotlight. You give the spotlight to the teacher.
Sure.
Whoever is speaking.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Moving forward, I would now like to invite our guest of honor, Professor Neeraj Gupta, Dean and HOD, School of Architecture, Central University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, to address the august audience. But before I invite Professor Neeraj Gupta, sir, let me introduce him to all of you. Professor Neeraj Gupta is an architect, town planner, management consultant, educational administrator, and academician of acclaim. He has more than 37 years of multidisciplinary experience in public sector organizations, the corporate world, and premier academic institutions, including IIT Rajasthan. He has served in a leadership position in the educational sector for nearly 2 decades. He is presently the Dean, School of Architecture, and Director, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Kaushal Kendra at the Central University of Rajasthan. He has vast experience in institution building as an architect and educational administrator and has helped establish many engineering colleges and architecture schools in Rajasthan. As a faculty member of IIT Rajasthan, he played a crucial role in designing and developing the infrastructure for IIT Rajasthan at Jaipur in its initial years of establishment. He played a vital role from the institute side in preparing design, briefly explaining the visualization of 900-acre campus at a net 000 sustainable campus. Subsequently, these initiatives became the guiding point for the sustainable development of other public sector institutions. He has served as a technical expert, advisor, and consultant to premier national level institutes like IIT Rajasthan, IIT Kanpur, IIT Ropar, Indian Institute of Management Udaipur, IIM Sirmaur, IIM Shillong, Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Kolkata, Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, and many other private universities and institutes. After acquiring his degree in architecture from the School of Planning and Architecture and some professional experience, he joined Jaipur Development Authority in 1983. After working in town planning and urban development for 13 years, he shifted to the world of education, training, and policy making. As a trainer, he has facilitated more than 1,600 learning events, workshops, and seminars for elected representatives, administrators, doctors, engineers, teachers, planners, and architects. He has been a keynote speaker of thousands of national and international conferences. His sessions in teachers training programs on choice-based credit system, academic bank of credit, student engagement in online classes, storytelling as a traditional Indian teaching method, and many others have been a vital source of learning for teachers.
Mukesh, you could stop here. There is,
yeah, sir. His profile is so long that it will take a long to go through it. But in nutshell, I would say it's that sir is a gem of a person, and it's an honor for University of Engineering and Management Jaipur to have him with us. Thank you, sir, and over to you, Professor Neeraj.
I'll need the right to share the screen presentation if you allow me.
Yes,
right
sir.
now, the host disabled participant screen sharing, so I'll need access to screen sharing.
Right. So I need to allow you?
Yes, you need to allow me.
Fine, sir.
Either you make me a co-host or you just allow me, whatever is.
Okay, then I will make you a co-host.
Yeah, Dr. Mukesh, you please make sir as a co-host.
Right, sir. And looking for it.
Allow all participants to share the screen, that's okay.
Allow all participants. Just looking for where would I get this?
Yeah.
In the settings section, as a host, you will be able to see the options.
One participant, multiple participants can share part. Is it okay now, sir?
Yeah, that, let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Instead, make professor as the co-host so that the professor can share.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Thanks, Mukesh, for this wonderful introduction, and I'm grateful to UEM for inviting me. I also convey my gratitude to the Honorable Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected Registrar Sir, and all the participants who are here today. And I'll just try to sum up a few things, and I'm thankful to all the earlier speakers who have made my task easier by setting a background for it. But I'm more focused on how the practical things and the few things that as an institution we could be doing, or as a teacher we should be doing. That's what I'll focus on very quickly. So before we begin, I just introduce my university. We are a central government funded institution of large campus, more than 75 programs, and there are admissions through central universities entrance test. Last date for it is 18th of this month. So those of you whose relatives or children may be interested, you could may apply that. So just a piece of information. I'm going to cover basically 3 points, the key points of NEP very, very briefly. Then I'll discuss a bit about what do we mean by holistic development in the context of NEP and outcome-based education. I'll spend some more time, and then briefly cover the role of institutions and the individual faculty members. By the way, this water body that you are seeing is a result of holistic development of our campus. This looks like a huge water body, but it is in Rajasthan where we have limited rains here. Now, the foundational pillars of national education policy are access, affordability, and accountability. And then, of course, equity and quality. So these are the 5 foundational pillars, which I would request all the participants to go through whenever they have time. Now, from the student's perspective, what does NEP have? So it talks about many things, but I picked up 4 out of them. One, it says this: development of the core capacities and life skills, including 21st century skills. And that's very important. As a teacher, as an institution, we need to look at 21st century skills and what are they and how we are able to deliver them to our students. Then it talks about the experiential learning at all stages. It is not just theory and classes and all that. So it's experiential learning. The other thing very important is the whole assessment mechanisms says it has to transform, it has to go through a major change. And that is very, very important, because unless we do that, we will not be able to come out of the rote learning and the coaching institution kind of a teaching, which does not lead us to anywhere else. And then mainstreaming of the vocational education. That means making vocational education an integral part of all the programs. From the teacher's perspective, it talks about many things. The first 3 are actually their personal things. Lifelong learning, it emphasizes on. It emphasizes on how you change the pedagogy and assessment mechanisms. And again, integrating vocational education. And the next 2 points are more of an institutional arrangement or government arrangements or public sector arrangement or universities arrangement, that how can you empower their teachers by building their capacities and how you can set professional standards for teachers. Now, I did a quick word count on the NEP document just to be one of the methods of telling that, okay, what is an emphasis of vocational education there, or what is the emphasis of other aspects. And interestingly, I find that vocational education and skill, they are so dominant in this whole text everywhere, which indicates the priority of the policy. Also, there's a lot of stress given to innovation and creativity. Gender concerns are very real, which comes to 16 times. I just simply did a Control F exercise on the PDF file available. Anybody can do it for any keyword that they are looking for. But it is a very good indication that the focus of the government is very clearly on increasing the employability through vocational education and development of skills, rather than simply pouring down information in the minds. Now, the few fundamental principles of national education policy are one very things. For the first time, somebody is talking about that all students have individual capacities and each one is able, should be allowed to flourish in the way he or she wants to do it. That's a very important thing. The other thing that talks about is that promotion of critical thinking, in fact, creativity and critical thinking, to encourage decision-making and innovation. The third thing, life skills, that means communication, cooperation, teamwork, and the last, resilience. You see, resilience is a key word, not only for the nations and cities, how we can quickly come out of the disasters, how we can come back after certain major changes or failures or things like that. That is what is important, very important life skill. In fact, anybody who is in a trading community, has been trading in stocks, would know that a good entrepreneur is the one who has resilience. He quickly comes out of the shock and he doesn't really bother about the loss on a day, picks up and goes ahead the next day. And then multidisciplinary and holistic education. That means they're saying, how do you integrate all the knowledge in it? So it is not about the tubular vision of science or chemistry or physics or mathematics, how I apply to it. Most of the students who complete their programs, they may be very good in the formula, but you ask them one simple question where it is going to be applied, they'll just turn blank. So that is what we are talking about, multidisciplinary and holistic education. These are the few fundamental principles that the policy talks about. In this context, what do we have to do as a higher education institution? One is that I have to increase the employability potential of the program. That is what I need to ensure. Other thing is that as people from different streams are allowed to take up programs, I need to develop some kind of bridge courses and foundational courses that will allow people from, let us say, English stream to move on to science or humanities or social work and things like that. So that is going to be a major change as it happens across the globe. In the professional program, this is going to be a bit of a challenge, but yes, people shifting from one branch of engineering to another branch of engineering. So every course will have to be designed with a prerequisite and things like that. And then we need to have outreach programs so that we can able to fund the institute and we can generate scholarships and funding support for the students. Now, of the things, so many things that it talks about, holistic development of learners, and I'm very happy that this UEM's FDP has focused on two key issues, outcome-based and holistic development of learner. And these are the two rather misunderstood or less understood components amongst all of us. So from that point of view, this faculty development program becomes very, very interesting. Now, to me, the best quote that I can represent what is holistic education is about how I allow people to think. सोचने के तरीके में अगर मैं फर्क ला सकता हूं, then I have done my job as a teacher, as an educator, and that is what is very, very critical, and that's what Albert Einstein says. So the holistic and multidisciplinary education, it basically says sarvangeen vikas. It is not only about the IQ level of it, the emotional quotient of it, the way the person is able to appear, appreciate the aesthetics, and aesthetics does not necessarily mean music or drama or dance or objects. It is holistically aesthetics in everyday life, how I compose my presentation, how I do so many things to it. So that is one important part. And social, physical, and last of all, moral values. So that is something, value education is what people are talking about. And that is something we need to build up. And that's where we see a lot of decline. Parents think that the education institutions will do it, and education teachers say values, culture is not our part. The sanskar to ghar se aate hain. So now there is a complete loss there. Nobody is kind of giving that education. What we really need to look at is, I'm sorry, there is again something wrong. The disabled screen sharing has happened. Can you just...
Sir, you can share your screen again, sir. Sir, again share your screen.
Yeah, now, is it okay? Can you see this?
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Yeah. So, the paradigm shift in a manner that earlier we had this kind of a course curriculum, teachers will come from one point to other, and it is like the very passive student is lying there, and it's an intravenous fluid of knowledge. Usko bilkul, just like... Now, obviously, anybody who has been to a hospital, he knows that what is the experience of an IV fluid. The first thing, slightly better you are feeling, you just want to get out of it. So 35% the pass marks hai na, wo leke kehta ji main yahan se bahar nikal kar jaun. Now, on the other hand, this whole policy is talking about that you serve fluids of the choice, let the person choose. So first of all, he'll have to apply the mind to choose and then make an effort to consciously draw the straw. So मेहनत करनी पड़ती है उसके अंदर, responsibilities for the child. Now it's very easy to be listening to the talks and writing some exams and passing out, But imagine somebody drives a car and he says कि साहब मुझे 35% ही आती है, मैं एक्सेलरेटर सिर्फ दबा सकता हूँ, ब्रेक और क्लच मुझे ठीक से यूज करना नहीं आता. I mean, would you like to sit in that car, with that driver, or so many other things there? So the whole thing is that you have to choose, make a choice-based decision. That is what the students they need to do, and they have to understand this aspect. Something going wrong all the time between this. So basically, outcome-based education is a student-centric approach to education. Now, why do we need it? I mean, some of these headlines will tell you. I don't want to put up my child in a college where 50% of the degree holders that I produce, they are no good. I mean, let us forget all the surveys, but these are the real things that are happening. And there is a March 2019 report, which was quoted by a few people in the parliament question also, that are we simply producing people with the degree holders who are not fit for their jobs? Quite obviously, we all experience that every day. I'm sure when you are interviewing the teachers coming to you, they have a lot of qualifications and all, but you ask them to speak for 10 minutes or ask them to write a letter or a decent application, they'll find it a challenging job. So these things become very important. So I'll request all the participants to pay attention to this, because this is the key of what I was trying to tell and everybody has been discussing earlier, that you have to first define the outcome. कि भैया ये पढ़ने के बाद में बच्चा क्या कर सकेगा. I give a very simple example of somebody trying to make an idli. I mean, whether you want him to be able to make an idli after this, or whether you want him to also understand the nutritional aspects of idli and things like that. So you really want, whether you want him to become a cook or a chef or a nutritional expert or a dietitian, and so on and so forth, or a food technologist, everybody will have the same kind of a setup. But you have to define the outcome. And based on that outcome, you create the content and learning objectives. So if it is a process that is being driven by final outcome, ulta chalke humko karna padega, कि ये करने के बाद में क्या कर लेगा. If somebody is doing, let us say, MSc biotechnology, then we would be able to say, well, he can become a good technician, he can also become a good researcher, or he can become this. So my program has to focus on that, and the choice of courses that this guy takes becomes focused on that. Now, as a teacher, after every class, I must be able to tell why I am teaching this class. Iske baad kya hoga? And then determine the assessment mechanism. Because right now what happens is, if you want, everybody remembers the recipe of the idli. Aisa lagega, aisa lagega, aisa, or kneading the flour, let us say. Everybody will know the recipe. Recipe rat kar aa jayenge, pariksha mein likh denge. But you ask them to knead the flour or make an idli, they would not know. And the same person, if you are saying that, well, you have to offer this idli to a diabetic man or somebody who is sick in the hospital, who is a dietitian or a nutritionist. So the person has to know that can idli be made out of ragi atta and other such things. That is a different kind of a knowledge input that we will need to have. So this example I've given you very mundane, very ordinary, but I think this will stick to your mind, that it is what kind of an idli that you are making and how you are making it and what is it that you are training him for. And once he knows how to make idli, then also knows how to make North Indian, he also knows this thing. So all these baskets put together, this guy becomes a chef in an Indian restaurant. Now that is what this whole system of academic bank of credits is, that I earn credits, keep putting them together and get the degree. So there's a huge change. We are really moving at a very different level, and we need to understand this very clearly. Again, I'll try to explain it in a very simplistic manner. The outcome-based education answers very basic questions. What is the academic content? Then you have to tell the student, why this? Because when we tell them the why, then he or she will be able to connect it with the professional work. I remember engineering classes ke andar, somebody says कि the communication skills अच्छे नहीं है. You teach English, and I have known a whole lot of teachers, with due respect to Mukesh, not quoting him, but I have seen that they're so much engrossed in the grammar and punctuation and the correctness of it, the child loses the interest. While the idea is that he should be able to communicate well in the seminar, he should be able to write well in the seminar, the methodologies are very different. Same way, when you're teaching chemistry to a first year engineering student, this guy is worried कि मैं अभी 12th class में chemistry पढ़कर आया तो दोबारा क्यों पढ़ा रहे हो? So you have to tell him that how this chemistry is going to help him into electronics and communication, and how you can get gold, extract gold out of those chips and things like that. So that why is very important. It is only after full understanding. You see, I mean, I given an example of there was a war taking place, and Bhagwan Krishna, Lord Krishna could have told Arjun, hey, don't argue with me. You know, he asked a question. You don't argue with me, simply go and fight. But he makes him understand it fully. You know, it takes about 2.5 hours of conversation. And only when he is convinced thoroughly, then he can put his heart and soul in that battle. And in that, so he won. It is not just like that. So this is a very important thing, that why has to be understood with this thing. Now, once that why is understood by the child, then it will be very easy for you to deliver the content, and then you assess them. So you have to tell him, look, I'm going to teach you this and how I intend assessing you. That assessment mechanism has to be known clearly to the person beforehand. Then when will how will I sequence my content? That's very important. How will I give feedback? Whether there is a continuous internal assessment, and after every exam, I'll tell him, how do you improve? How do you work better? And then we have to decide the location. There are a lot of things which can take place in the classroom. Some of the things will take place in the industry. Some programs can be taken place in online, certain courses. So all this why, what, why, how, when, and where, if that is, we are answering it to ourselves, we can design anything, whether a program or any other item that we need to work on. Because our learners are changing. Our learners are these days, and thanks to the corona wave, technology has gone in. So they are like not only ATMs, you know, they are like anywhere learning, anytime learning, any platform learning, and any company learning. So there is a community of international level of people who are working together. Now, for such people, you have to change the way we design our curriculum, the way we teach and deliver courses, the way we assess ourselves, and more than that, how we conduct ourselves and interact with the learner. Learner is an adult learner, which we get in the university. This guy may probably know all that information that you have in your notes, because Google Baba is there to help him out. What he does not know is how to assimilate that information and deliver it to the right people. And this quote I remember always when talking about education: everybody likes to learn, but they hate to be instructed. You know, I like to learn, but I hate to be taught. I mean, as an adult, you know this. I mean, whenever somebody gives you an instruction, there is some kind of an, "Arey, mujhe pata hai, I know it. Why are you telling me this?" So that's very important. Now, in this context, what is the role of higher education institutions? So higher education institutions, they need to anticipate and prepare for India's future technologies. That is one thing. कि भविष्य में क्या होने वाला है? We have to do that. That is a kind of a research with senior professors and others need to be doing and working upon. Then, according to that, build the capacity of the students and teachers for future generation of skills. You know, we are still teaching the same kind of stuff while world has gone to cloud computing or AI, ML, and other technologies. So, I mean, that's something very different. Our programs are not really designed according to that as far. We have to do a very fast pace of change. And outcome-based academic structures and curriculum, that is an institutional part. The other thing is we really need to have much closer collaboration with the industry and other research institutions, so that academic meets the real world. You know, academic does not remain something which is closeted to your four walls. And then you have to engage with the knowledge-intensive societies. When I'm saying knowledge-intensive societies, there's a lot of vernacular wisdom available with us. There's a lot of engineering marvels available in India to talk about. We take pride in our own culture, in our own nation, and that is what we are, a knowledge-intensive society. We just have to go back to our roots, start looking at it, and then leverage technology for education. It's not just classroom, it is something much beyond. Now, as a faculty member, what can I do? One very important thing, as a learning facilitator, I develop a culture where I value students' contribution. I have by 42, and you know, you cannot even touch the title of it within that frame time. Then encourage them to pursue sensible risk-taking and look beyond the set curriculum solution. Now, IIT Jodhpur recently introduced something very interesting. They said we must have some tinkering labs, certain laboratory courses, which are only you will be given attendance for participation. You may be working in that lab. You may not be able to produce anything. Not that every project that we undertake in engineering will give results. It may not happen. Also, I need to encourage them to look beyond the curriculum. हर चीज किताब में और curriculum में नहीं है, and it has to be beyond that. As a course instructor, my first job is to establish importance of the content, that why element, why you should learn this. And then I must really help them understand कि ये पढ़ने से तुम्हारा क्या फायदा होने वाला है. No, everybody looks at that. What is in it for me? Minimize instructions and maximize autonomy. So I have to design my teaching methods in an activity-oriented way so the person is bound to learn, forced to learn. You cannot just escape it. Then I have to, very important thing, I have to understand in a class of 60, not everybody will be equal. Some people may be not so bright compared to what you look for, but then this guy may be bright in something else. So I really need to be, that is where the whole question of choice-based credit system and other things come into play. But within the same course, I have to appreciate and understand. I mean, like vocational programs, when I designed and delivered the courses and did you Kaushal Kendra, we do have a system. I personally tried, it's an effort that certain people are given one set of paper and some people are given different set of papers, and then we evaluate them. So everybody has a chance to excel and do something of their own thing. So the designing of assessment mechanism becomes very important. Or if it is the same set of question paper, then the range of questions that I offer is such that different people of different calibers can also score something as long as they are able to focus on that. And of course, multimedia, everybody is using it now. Now, as a learner, very important is you as a teacher, I as a teacher, we have to be on the path of continuous learning. And for that, I need to look beyond the courses and the curriculum. I need to expand my knowledge into the new area. It is a multidisciplinarity is the key to the success. You know, if I was just an architect, I would not be able to design many projects. I have to understand education. I have to understand finance. I have to understand management. I have to understand the science behind it. I have to understand the anthropology and psychology. Then I am able to produce a building which is worthy of that particular usage or the home. That's what I'm saying, multidisciplinarity of it. Every time you must seek feedback from your colleagues, from your students, whether your class meri kaisi thi, rate me on some. We are very shy of, rating ourselves. It happens all abroad that if some teacher can walk into your room and tell you, with your permission, of course, and you in fact invite them to, why don't you come and sit in my class and give me feedback? So that's what people look for. And how I could have done better, that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Compete with yourself and learn from your failures. Do not worry about what your neighbor is doing. Do not worry about what your other colleague is doing. I just tried to build up this timeline for implementation. This may be of some use to UEM and others also. June 2022, if you are doing this faculty development program, I think by September 2022, we must be able to develop a strategy and action plan for implementation from the UEN perspective. I mean, you may not be able to establish, do the complete NEP, but whatever little we can do. Then, which will mean by January 2023, we are complete with the new curriculum design and assessment mechanisms in whichever fields that we look into. By March 2023, we can develop methods for delivery of OBE and holistic education. That means training all your faculties to do all this, so that the next season, May 2023, the program structures or the syllabus and the curriculum that we design, they are really meant for 21st century, and they are as per the guidelines or the processes of the 21st century. That's what we need to understand. To summarize, we have to shift from pedagogy to andragogy to pedagogy. That means the children should be learning what they want, nothing more, nothing less. And then the teacher as a facilitator. We are not teachers just, we are facilitators. We have to help people learn. The focus is shifted from quality of exam results to quality of job. Now people are talking about the quality of life. So that is what holistic development, holistic education is all about. And I'll just end my talk with this small little story, if you permit. You see, everybody has heard of Edison, and this is a story about Edison's mother. You know, Edison, one at the 4-year-old child, once he came back and from the school, there was a small slip in an envelope, and the teacher said, "Please go and give it to your mother." The mother came, opened the child, 4-year-old child looked at it. Usne kaha, "Mom, isme kya likha hai?" So, and this says, "Look, I'll read it out to you, son. Your son is a genius. This school is not the right place for him. There are no efficient teachers to train him. So please train him yourself." He says, "Look, son, the schools are not good enough for you. From tomorrow, you are not going to school. I am going to teach you. I am going to train you." So Edison's mother did all the primary education for Edison. Many years later, when this guy was famous, 70 years back, he goes back to his home. Mother is no more. Looks up in the chest, and there he finds in the drawer, in the box, somewhere that envelope, and he suddenly remembers it. He says, he read that out. That slip of paper that mother had read him was this. But what this slip of paper actually contained was here. School cannot allow your son to attend classes anymore. He is mentally impaired. He is rusticated. An emotional Edison went back. He used to write his journal every day. In that journal, he wrote that Edison was a mentally deficient child whose mother turned him into genius of the century. Edison's mother was a true teacher to him. And the 4 lessons that Edison's mother gave are here. Do not be afraid to fail. Keep trying, learn from failure and try again. And that is what the Edison's famous quote, "Fail your way to success." Actually, it is Nancy Elliott Edison, Edison's mother. The second lesson that the mother gave was, it's okay to work with your hands and your head. Not everything comes important from the books. Experience the world and learn from it. Very important lesson. But after having said that, the lesson number 3 is very critical, which we keep telling all the researchers. Read across the entire span of literature, not just what you like. That means get the holistic, complete knowledge of it. Then only you will be able to do these things. And never stop learning. Keep improving yourself. So these are the 4 lessons that made a big difference. And that is what converted an imbecile, low IQ child into a biggest genius of this century and probably all times to come. As a teacher, it is very important. Our words matter. We need to be polite. We need to be soft. Just these few words, don't give up. You're not alone. You matter. Some of these things make a very big difference to a child. And if we are able to do that, we'll be really doing a service to them. Please do remember, some of the brightest minds in the classrooms are not the toppers. They are not the first benchers. Abdul Kalam very rightly said that you can find them anywhere. It is how we teach them. So thanks for listening. I'm grateful once again to UEM to give me this opportunity. I'm sorry, Mukesh, I think I've taken a few minutes extra, but I can attribute a couple of minutes to the technological interventions and this. And I do remember Michelangelo at the age of 87 said, "I am still learning. I'm still learning." I think once we get that attitude, a lot of things will change. And that is what this FDP is going to be about. And I'm sure with the list of very, very strong persons that Mukesh has been able to collate and with the help of others, I'm sure you will have a very, very enlightening program. Please do not make it like a standard online program where you just log in and sleep off. I mean, you can do that also. It's your life, your money, your time. But I can assure you that a good quality program will make a big difference in your life. Once again, I thank you all for inviting me, and I do look forward to direct more time consuming. I mean, I would rather have 1.5 hour session with the faculty members on some other occasion as the time permits, rather than limiting myself. प्रदीप जी, ये punishment होती है टीचर के लिए, किसी को 20 मिनट बोलने के लिए कहा जाए, जिसको 90 मिनट की बोलने की आदत है।
सर आपका आशीर्वाद। Thank you very much, sir, for this.
Grateful to you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your valuable time, for your intense deliberation. What you said is right. A teacher should always continue to learn and improve himself. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining. Moving ahead, I would now like to invite our chief guest, Shri Gordhan Lal Sharma ji, RS Officer, Deputy Commissioner, Nagar Nigam, Greater Jaipur, to kindly give his deliberations. But before I invite him, may I introduce to all of you Shri Gordhan Lal Sharma ji. Whether Dr. Gordhan Lal Sharma is a senior RAS officer in Jaipur. He is presently working as a Deputy Commissioner, Nagar Nigam, Greater Jaipur. He is an ardent administrator, educator, author, career counselor, life coach, and a motivational speaker. He is a founder and editor-in-chief of Panacea International Research Journal, which is a bilingual, multidisciplinary, peer-reviewed UGC refereed journal. Sir, it's an honor to have you here with us. Over to you, Dr. Gordhan Lal Sharma ji.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here with you on this digital platform, in this career advancement, seminar or conference, whatever it may be. I am very much enlightened with the, the knowledge of Professor Neeraj. I am very much बहुत ज़्यादा मैं मतलब प्रभावित हुआ और मैंने 2-3 चीज़ें नोट भी की हैं। हम लोग साइकोलॉजी में पढ़ते थे, जब मैंने साइकोलॉजी में पीजी किया। मैं भी चूँकि प्रशासनिक सेवा में हूँ, लेकिन मैं ज़्यादा अकादमिक ज़्यादा और एक स्टूडेंट ज़्यादा मानता हूँ अपने आप को अभी भी। और जैसा कि अपने एंडिंग नोट आपने बताया कि स्टिल आई एम लर्निंग, इट्स ए एंडलेस प्रोसेस। हमारा ऋग्वेद कहता है कि आनो भद्रा क्रतो यंतु विश्वतः, let the knowledge, let the novel thought come from every side and every time. तो ये अनवरत एक प्रोसेस है। आपने बताया कि resilience come out from the any diverse and negative situation or disaster, तो ये बहुत बड़ी एक एबिलिटी होती है। हम कोशिश करते हैं कि स्टूडेंट्स हैं और जो टीचर्स हैं वो सब उनमें इस तरह की एबिलिटीज़ हों, इस तरह की चीज़ें हों कि वो किसी भी प्रकार की विपरीत परिस्थितियों से अपने आप को कम आउट करें, कॉप अप करें, और ये हमेशा चलता रहना चाहिए। और हम सब ने कोरोना में बहुत ज़्यादा इस चीज़ों को सीखा है। हमारे यहाँ पुरुषार्थ की अवधारणा है, जो हमारे कहा जाता है कि एंड्स एंड एम्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स ऑफ द लाइफ, अल्टीमेट गोल्स ऑफ द लाइफ। लेस्ली वाइट ने कहा कि देयर आर 5 डिस्टिंग्विश्ड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द ह्यूमन बीइंग व्हिच मेक डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द एनिमल्स एंड द बर्ड्स। हमारी जो हम ये कलम पकड़ते हैं, पेन पकड़ते हैं, ये एबिलिटी लाखों वर्षों में डेवलप हुई है। होमो सेपियंस से हम आज जब आधुनिक मानव के रूप में हैं मौजूद, तो ये चीज़ें कोई सहज नहीं है, ये अलग अलग हैं। हमारी बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट स्पाइनल कॉर्ड, हमारी कंसंट्रेट करने की एबिलिटी, हमारा डेवलप ब्रेन, हमारी लैंग्वेज, हमारी भाषा, जो सिंबल, जो हमारे संकेत हैं, संकेतों की जो समझ है, ये सब चीज़ें बहुत ही फ्रॉम टाइम मेमोरियल धीरे धीरे डेवलप हुई हैं। और उसमें वर्षों लाखों वर्ष लगे। ऐसा कहते हैं द डिसेंट ऑफ मैन, जो जिनकी हम बात करते हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि मनुष्य का जो उद्विकास है वो धीरे धीरे 40 लाख वर्ष कुछ ऐसे लगे इसको डेवलप होने में, कि हम अच्छे से पेन को पकड़ पाते हैं और अब अच्छे से हमारे जो फिंगर्स हैं और अंगूठा है, इनको हम उपयोग कर पाते हैं। तो ये बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो हमें जानवरों से उन सबसे अलग करती है। ऐसे ही हमारी जो पुरुषार्थ है, ये बहुत यूनिकनेस है। और जो धर्मा है वो रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, अकाउंटेबिलिटी, और दूसरे अर्थों में मैं कहूँ तो वो वर्च्यूज है, उसके निकट है, जिसको हम सद्गुण कहते हैं। वर्च्यू, सद्गुण, वर्च्यूज वर्सेस वाइसेस। जो अवगुण हैं और सद्गुण हैं, उनके बीच में कहीं ना कहीं ये क्लासिफिकेशन करना होगा। और यही बात जब हम किसी व्यक्ति के जीवन में अगर किसी व्यक्ति की इम्पोर्टेंस है, something is going wrong. I think this is audible.
Yes, sir, audible.
Are you getting me,
Yes,
Professor?
Yes, sir, you are
Okay,
audible.
okay.
Sir,
Oh, streaming.
there's a small request from participants, like there are around 50 faculty members from South India, and they are not aware of
Okay,
Hindi.
okay.
So they are requesting
Of
if you
Hindi.
speak
So
more in English.
yeah. I'm. This is
To translate in
you know,
between.
Hindi is my mother tongue. I'm trying in English. Okay, so we were talking about the dharma, that is accountability and the responsibility and the aims and objectives of our life, ultimate goals of our life. So who is so much important in everyone's life? That is teacher. जो टीचर है और उस टीचर, the teacher is very much having the importance of every individual's life. Once teacher inculcate all the ethical values and all the cultural values in his or her personality, so the student naturally benefited by that. So now there are two other things along with this virtues and vices discussion. So nowadays the concept of happiness index is very much popular in the all universe. So what is the happiness index? Happiness index means what we want and what we ought to do is very much pleasant to ourselves. If we want something, we don't get it, this is frustration. Nowadays we can see so much incidence of the suicide. I have just remember IIT 114th ranked IIT ranker going to be suicide recently just. So what is this? This is the gap between your desire, your hobby and your happiness. This is a very much gap between what you want to do. If you want to do something artistic, you want to play music, you want to dance, you want to involve in the artistic something activities, and your parents are very much desirous, very much having dream about you.
எனக்கு மேல போனான்னு வச்சுக்கோ நான் பல வருஷ கணக்கா நம்ம அதை யூஸ் பண்றதே இல்ல மவுஸ்னால எனக்கு சுத்தமா தெரியல.
Kindly please I think speaker is.
Yes sir, we are muting her. You can continue, sir.
Okay, it's all right. So this is gap between between your hobby, your happiness and what is desired from the society. So we have to fulfill this gap. Now what is the mechanism? I think there are so many dimensions of this developmental process, of this training process. One is institutional dimension. We have to enhance the institutional values. Second one is, and there are two different kinds of the dimensions. One is soft skill and second is institutional skill. So first we want to discuss on the institutional skill. So second one is the institutional. Second is about the teachers, the faculty of the institution. Third one is the professional upliftment of the institution. Fourth one is the upliftment and the harmonious development, harmonious training of the students of the institution. And the fifth one is the societal development. So there is a convergence, there is a coordination between the upliftment and the training and the development of all the segments and the dimensions of the as whole, the institution and the connected stakeholders of the institution. So we are living in the era of the knowledge. Today is the knowledge is power. we have so many, just I have recited, Ano Bhadra Tattva Yantu Vishutaha. Let the knowledge come from every side. So if we haven't the knowledge regarding any kind of the dimension, any kind of the subject, any kind of the, the things and the issues, we can't cope up. And we ought to give the opportunity to develop that personality and the virtues and the, the profession of the student. Like Hanuman, Sri Ram always give the opportunity, full opportunity to the Hanuman. He did not talk about the what he have to do at the Lanka, from where he has to go, and so he did not disclose the SOP, any kind of the SOP. Sri Ram, Maryada Purushottam Ram, give total liberty to the Hanuman. So Hanuman come out from the, very much grooming of the personality, and he did what he thinks fit and come out with the, हम देखते हैं, and we learn from the Ramayana, and there are so many things, and we also Mahatma Gandhi also talk about the Ram Raj in this era also. No any kind of the superordination, subordination, any kind of disabilities, nothing was the privileges, and all things are like equality, like socialism, like communism, everything is at par in the Ram Raj. So what is the Ram Raj? Today the Ram Raj is as good as the good governance we have talked about, and the United Nations also talked about the good governance, and United Nations gave the 8 characteristics of the good governance. And these are the very much similar to the Ram Raj, which was, dreamed, which was also dream of the Gandhi, which was also established in the era of the Ramayana. And nowadays, nothing beyond that. All 8 characteristics are all similar. Now we have national education policy, and the same things are you can trust with. We are tracing on the, we are emphasizing on the ethical values, value loaded, value aided education with full of values, integrity, and equality, and free from corruption, and the democratization of the institution, and all that. So we can see all the essence of these kind of the things in new national education policy 2020. So our Upanishad, and I think it's a Kathopanishad, said that Ayam Nije Paroveti Ganana Lahu Chetasam Udar Charita Nam Tu Vasudhav. Nowadays we are living in the age of the globalization. And Mr. Marshall McLuhan also talked about the global village. It is nothing but it's a process of free flow of the everything, free flow of the capital, free flow of the currency, free flow of the labor, culture, economy, commerce, etc. Free flow from the geographical boundaries. That is the consequences of the globalization is nothing but global village. So the concept of the Marshall McLuhan. So we can trace the concept of globalization from time immemorial, around 2000 years back, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So today we can, is there a problem?
You are audible, sir.
This is streaming.
No, sir, you are audible. You can continue.
Okay, I am audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk about the career development, career advancement, and the so I think something. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
I think
You are audible, sir. We can hear you.
okay. Audible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the last but not least, there are two things. One is learning, second is education. So when we talk about learning is something limited thing, limited concept, getting something, and when we talk about education is limited. Education, you educate someone, you give some specific thing, lesson, or this is a continuous process. But when talk about the learning is very wide concept. Learning means janna in Hindi. That is very wide, asimit. This is जिसको कहते हैं हिंदी में जीवन मुक्त होना, मुक्तता की अवधारणा, ये मुक्त करती है. There is a quote, सा विद्या या विमुक्ते, the education which make you free from all the complexes of the life, all the hurdles of the life. That is learning. So we in our national education policy, we are going to emphasize on the learning rather than the education. Education is something limited academically with the foundation of the curriculum, pedagogy, and etc. But the learning is it's a art of living. It's something which you required in whole your life, every step of the life, socially, culturally, economically, professionally, etc. So it is more important to learn anything to learn in your life rather than get educated in your life. So thank you very much for giving me Dr. Sharma and the Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Chancellor of the University and the distinguished guest, Professor Neeraj, and all the dignitaries over here on this online platform. And thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for being here with us. It was an honor to have you here, and it was so encouraging and enriching to hear your valuable thoughts. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Moving ahead, next I wish to invite Professor Dr. Anirudh Mukherjee, Dean Academic, UVM Jaipur, to kindly deliver vote of thanks and his closing remarks. Over to you, Professor Dr. Anirudh Mukherjee, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mukesh. I believe I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you. Well, I'm too little a person to discuss anything on this workshop. I mean, on holistic development and outcome-based education in the light of National Education Policy 2020. It's it's a great honor for me to deliver the vote of thanks in the presence of this august gathering. I'm really enlightened to hear from Dr. Neeraj Gupta sir his insightful words about the holistic developments of outcome-based education, and Dr. G.L. Sharma sir to enlighten us on the subject. I really once again share my most heartiest, thanks to all the dignitaries, the resource persons present here, on the Honorable Chancellor Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Registrar Sir, the entire Department of Humanities, Dr. Mukherjee Gupta. It's really wonderful to be present in this vote of thanks. Outcome-based education or performance-based approach is perhaps the cutting edge of curriculum development, which I believe offers a powerful and appealing way of reforming and managing education. As Dr. Neeraj Gupta sir has really put forth, the emphasis on national education policy. It's very interesting to note that the emphasis on this policy has been mostly on training and skill development. Well, this is, I believe, the emphasis has been laid down to, put forth to develop more professionals on this process of education and imparting education. In outcome-based education, the educational outcomes are clearly ambiguously specified, and with this determine the curriculum content and its organization, the teaching methods and strategies. I believe this 7 days workshop will definitely put forth all these aspects and deliver us to new dimensions of learning, which I believe is most important in imparting simple education, because learning is the process where you can train the minds to think about creation and development of these nations. With these words, I'd like to close down. I'd like to hear from all the dignitaries present here on this subject. Thank you once again.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for being here with us. And now on behalf of UEM Jaipur, we would like to call off this inaugural session, and we will see you again in the afternoon session, which will start at 1:30 p.m. And it's an honor and it's a privilege, and we are really thankful to all the participants for joining this session and for being a part of this inaugural session. Thank you to all the guests, to all the participants, to all the academicians who have taken time to attend this inaugural session. Thank you so much. Thank you. And in the end, I would say I wish you all health, happiness, and success. And let's meet again at 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
All the guests.
Thank you.